I have a question for you. What do Stevie Wonder, Jay-Z and JPEGMAFIA have in common? I'll let that question sit for a second and ask, what do all these artists on screen have in common? Well, they've all worked with James Blake. I will always love you. There is a reason why I call James Blake your favourite artist's favourite artist, because he probably is. I mean, Kanye West even admitted it. Because it feels like he has worked with pretty much the whole industry. You have an idea in mind, you call James Blake to execute it. At this point in his career, there isn't many genres he hasn't touched. Electronic, dance, trip-hop, R&B, hip-hop, gospel, soul. I mean, journalists tagged him as the leader of this post-dubstep movement. But that was early in his career, and with each passing year, Blake develops as an artist and continues to influence borderline everyone in the music industry. And this all started with his 3 EPs, all released in 2010. The Bells Sketch, CMYK, and the one I can't pronounce. The first one would be a dance EP, but different from its contemporaries, running at around 72 beats per minute, which is considered slow for dance music. The second would blend 90s R&B and electronic music, incorporating Aaliyah and Kellis alike, and the third and final would be built on piano, resulting in a more intimate and down-tempo release. While Blake uses his own vocals, all 3 are built on the foundation of sampling, which if you want to know more about sampling, give this video a watch after this, but make sure you stick around for this one. Anyway, all 3 EPs are considered influential and progressive, and James was shown his experimental blend of genres to the whole world. And while Blake would build on all this material on his self-titled debut album, which is still considered as the pinnacle of post-dubstep, and still praised as one of the most forward-thinking albums of the 21st century. Blake still incorporates samples, but much more of this album was based around Blake's vocals. We have tracks like Unlock, which is a post-dubstep song with multi-layered vocals processed through auto-tune. Whereas a track like The Will.i.am Scream uses boom and percussion and a gradual increase in volume to create this claustrophobic sound. Through the use of samples and his own vocals and instruments, Blake would emulate and infuse multiple sounds, resulting in an album that can't be replicated. And the influence is undeniable, as Blake's sound is still being used today, whether it be in pop or hip hop music. The musicianship and sonic genius was on show, and not even 1 year on from his debut EP, Blake was showing off his rare talent to the world. But while James' influence was there, it wasn't like James started collaborating with other artists yet. The industry was just starting to take his ideas. And after spending some time with Kanye West, Blake would release his sophomore album, Overgrown, in 2013. An album that would earn him the Mercury Prize Award and a Grammy nomination for Best New Artist. And Overgrown was the middle ground between Blake's restrained ballads and his overwhelming electronic sound. And this album once again showed off Blake's greatest strength, his composition work, a reason why so many artists in today's world flock to him. Pitchfork said it best, whether he's making bass heavy bangers, quiet meditations, or increasingly of late, something in between, Blake is a modern master of emotional speculation. Around this time, Blake would release a remix with Chance the Rapper, and turn down Drake's offer for one of his old instrumentals to be used on the single 0 to 100 The Catch Up, so you know, artists worldwide were starting to take notice. And now, 2015 onwards is where James Blake would start to take over the entire fucking industry. Like I said, his influence was already everywhere, but the collaborations started to come thick and fast. Put it this way, in the space of 3 years, he worked on Logic's Incredible True Story, Travis Scott's Birds in the Trap, Frank Ocean's Blonde, Beyonce's Lemonade, Vince Staples' Prima Donna, Jay-Z's 444, Kendrick's Damn, Mount Kimbie's Love What Survives, Astroworld, the Black Panther soundtrack, and so much more. It's safe to say James Blake's stocks were through the roof. But let's step back to 2016 for the release of his 3rd studio album, The Colour in Anything. This is a far cry from his post-dubstep works, but still dabbles in his electronic influences. But in reality, this is Blake leaning towards his R&B and gospel influences, with his vocals being more present than ever. This will come to life thanks to contributions from Justin Vernon, Rick Rubin and Frank Ocean. The music is still unbelievably textured and incredibly laid and menacingly sad. And while working with the likes of Kendrick Lamar, Travis Scott and Jay-Z would certainly influence his next album, and my personal favourite, Assume Form. Now if you're familiar with James Blake, then you'll know one thing is true. His music is very sad and very depressing, like real depressing, to the point of sometimes it can be a bit hard to get through. Well, Assume Form is actually quite upbeat. The content is still confessional and vulnerable, but the hip hop influence just shines through, and that isn't just down to the likes of Travis Scott and Metro Boomin who are on here, but instrumentals on tracks like Can't Believe the Way We Flow are just deep rooted in modern day hip hop. And look, if Andre is down to work with you, you're doing something right.
So perfect, so why do I look for curtains? Uncertain, but certainly false alarms alerting.
And in 2021, Blake would release his most traditional album, full of ballads. Once again, expanding his ever-growing lists of artists he's collabed with, he grabbed SZA, Jid, and others for an album that's soft and beautiful, exploring once again his vocal presence and emotive lyricism. It doesn't have the electricity and disorientating feel that his early work did, but this is just the creative development of an artist that we're witnessing in real time. And well, in the past few years he has continued to be your favourite artist's favourite artist, working with Jay Electronica, Bon Iver again, Slow Tie a million times, Kalani, Playboy Carti, Dave, JPEGMAFIA, Skepta, Freddie Gibbs, Don Toliver, Jid and Rosalia. James Blake is a musician's musician, someone who may not always be in the limelight, but will always have respect from his peers, and will often work behind the scenes. He's went from a groundbreaking producer whose work was disorientating and chaotic, influencing the whole industry, to an artist exploring his love for every genre and helping elevate other artists along the way. And do you know what's crazy? He's still only 34, so God knows what else this man has in his giant bag of tricks. If you enjoyed, share it about, leave a like, subscribe, all the usual, and check out this video right here. Thank you.